Good afternoon, Bay Nation. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Bay. I'm your host, Mike Williams, and my co-host here, Geoffrey.
Good afternoon, Bay Nation.
Today we're going to be going over the waiver wire. For those of you who do not know what a waiver wire is, basically, all the players that have not been selected during the draft are put into a free agent group. And every week after Monday night's game, all the players are now in the waiver wire, and you can select one of them, placing a waiver claim on one of them if you're in waivers, or if you're in FAAB, F-A-A-B, free agent acquisition budget, where you place how much you would like to spend on trying to acquire one of those players. So basically, today I'm going to be going over some good options that you can pick up on your waiver wire. Okay, so we are going to start with the running back position. My number one waiver claim at the running back position, Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines played fantastic on Sunday. It was amazing. He basically looked like a young Austin Eckler. And that's kind of what I expected, considering Phillip Rivers loves to dump it down to the running back position. Now, this pick was made better, unfortunately, with an injury to Marlon Mack. You never like to see an injury. He tore his Achilles. Very sad. I actually really liked Marlon Mack coming into this year. I hope him a speedy recovery. He tore his Achilles. It's very unfortunate. But I'm here to help you with fantasy football, and unfortunately, when someone gets injured, that gives opportunity to someone else. Jonathan Taylor obviously gets a big boost, but so does Nyheim Hines, who looked like he was going to be very involved in the offense. My number two running back is Malcolm Brown. Malcolm Brown is a running back for the LA Rams, and he is in a timeshare, but he seemed to be in that lead of that timeshare. He had more carries than both his backups combined, Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. So, I think that over time, that may shift back and forth, because Cam Akers got drafted here, and they do like Darrell Henderson as well. So, I think it's going to be more of a hot hand approach. But from what I saw last night, or 2 nights ago, it was very impressive. Malcolm Brown looks great, and the team does like him. So as of right now, he is a good waiver claim, and I do think that he can return value in the immediate future. Long term, I don't know if he's going to have said value, because I think Cam Akers eventually takes over. But as of right now, if you need somebody, maybe you lost Le'Veon Bell or another player. So he would be a good fill-in. Next we have Benny Snell. Benny Snell is a backup running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but James Conner went down. I feel like I've said that 1,000 times. Every time I turn on the television and watch the Steelers, I always hope, please don't let James Conner get injured today. It's one of the reasons why I don't draft him very often. It's because of his injury, not his talent. He's extremely talented, but enough about James Conner. He is possibly going to be out this week, which is why this one is more of a maybe. Benny Snell looks great in his absence, though. Over 100 yards rushing. He looked fantastic. He was definitely the go-to guy. He's a little more risky because whenever James Conner comes back, he's going to get a majority of the work. Now, that being said, are they going to give James Conner a little less of the work, so maybe he stays a little fresher, less injured, less opportunities to get hurt? That's up in the air. Next, I have James Robinson. James Robinson, you probably never heard of him. He's a running back on the Jacksonville Jaguars. He got a vast majority of the work, and he looked pretty solid. Now, I don't expect them to always be in positive game scripts where they're going to keep running the ball. And Chris Thompson didn't get almost any work, and I don't foresee that being the case moving forward. But if you need a running back that's going to get touches, I think he has guaranteed touches. Next, we have Joshua Kelly. I like Joshua Kelly. He looked great yesterday. 12 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Now, the touchdown, he made a nice little juke, but the offensive line did a pretty good job getting him open. I did like Joshua Kelly. I think that he's going to be a nice long-term play. I don't think that he's the week-to-week play as of right now, but he definitely should be rostered. And last but not least, Adrian Peterson makes the list. Bravo, Adrian Peterson. The fact that you are still going is extremely impressive. I love Adrian Peterson. I hope he plays football forever. That being said, the Lions may have lost this game, but they were up for a vast majority of it. And when you're up, you're going to run the ball more. Next week they play Green Bay, and I do not foresee the Lions being up. That being said, I do think that Adrian Peterson will get some volume because they did tell him that he was going to have a role, and from what I've seen so far, he will. And unfortunately, the rookie, DeAndre Swift, dropped a game-winning pass. I really feel bad for the kid. I really, really do, because that has got to be the worst way to start off an NFL career, with a game-losing drop. Very unfortunate. All right, I think that's going to do it for the running backs. On to the wide receivers. Ooh, actually, Geoffrey, do you have anything that you would like to say on these running backs?
You almost forgot about me, sir. I think Hines will continue to be very involved in the passing game. He had 8 receptions this week.
All right, that's going to do it. On to the next one. Up next, wide receivers. And top of my list, Paris Campbell. Now, Paris Campbell you might not have heard of. He's just new to the Colts. He is a very talented wide receiver, and it looked like Phillip Rivers really liked him. He threw it to him just as often as he threw it to T.Y. Hilton, and not going to lie, Paris Campbell looked pretty good. I liked him, and I think that he should have a solid role moving forward. Next on my list, I have Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton is a wide receiver off the New York Giants, and he looked fantastic last night. He's an explosive wide receiver, always a big downfield threat, very fast. Now, Golden Tate wasn't on the field last night because he was injured, and Evan Ingram got locked down, like a vault baby, locked down. They were not letting anything get to him. The Steelers are a fantastic defense, but you can't guard everyone all the time. So Darius Slayton got some work. He was running routes pretty well, but I don't know if he's going to be getting this on a consistent basis. So I still have Sterling Shepard above him, and once Golden Tate comes back, I think he'll be above him. But if you're looking for a good boom-bust kind of guy that you can throw in your lineup and get you 102 touchdowns, he's definitely your guy. All right, next, Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is also the same sort of player as Darius Slayton. Boom-bust kind of guy. I think that he's going to be involved in this offense. DJ Moore and him are going to be beasts down the field and downfield threats. Teddy Bridgewater is showing that he is willing to throw it down the field, and that's going to be great for this offense. I don't see them being up in a lot of games, so they're going to have to throw the ball, and Robbie Anderson can always bust out a 60-yard touchdown. He's fast like that. Next on the list, Russell Gage. This guy had a great ending of the year last year and then came in and showed out. He had 12 targets, 9 receptions, and over 100 yards. Absolutely fantastic week 1. That being said, Julio Jones had over 100 yards, Calvin Ridley had over 100 yards, and Matt Ryan threw for 450 yards. That's crazy. I don't think Matt Ryan's going to be throwing for 400 yards a game because that's insane. He's going to be somewhere around the 350 range. And I'm not quite sure that Russell Gage is going to have those 100-plus yards games on a regular basis, which I'm going to tell you now, that's not going to happen. But I do think that he is a solid wide receiver 3 on that team, and they throw a lot. So I think that he has some value. He doesn't have a secured role, but I do think that he is involved. That being said, their tight end wasn't as involved as I think that he's going to be over time. So Russell Gage is a upside kind of play. I do think that he can be involved in the offense. This next one, I don't know what to tell you other than it's Corey Davis. Corey Davis, for those of you who do not know, the fantasy community has been burned by Corey Davis. He is a very talented, highly drafted wide receiver. But he has not been able to put it on the field. That being said, he looked great last night. He looks fantastic. And I'm going to be taking a shot on him because you can probably get him for cheap because nobody's going to believe in him. So have him sit on your bench and see what he can do in the next coming weeks because Corey Davis is talented. So if he can put it together, that would be awesome. Now, the Titans don't throw a lot normally, but I think that they have limited weapons that they're going to use. Obviously, Derrick Henry's going to get his. He's an absolute beast. But in the receiving game, A.J. Brown and Jonnu Smith, next is Corey Davis, if not above Jonnu Smith in target factor. So I think that he has an opportunity to be good moving forward. After that, we have a couple flyers. Jalen Reagor, he had a nice 55-yard reception. He got missed a couple times down the field. I do think that he's very talented and he should be on someone's bench moving forward. Anthony Miller had a fantastic game-winning catch last week. He looks good. Sammy Watkins can also go in your bench. Scotty Miller looked like he had some potential moving forward. And Mike Williams. No, not me. Mike Williams on the Chargers. Looks like he's going to be a nice downfield threat. If he's still out on the waiver wires, you should definitely check that out. And if he's available, scoop him up. Very talented, and they look like they're willing to throw it to him downfield. You got anything, Geoffrey?
Darius Slayton, Robbie Anderson, Russell Gage, and Corey Davis all had over 100 yards this week.
Good point. All right. On to the next position. Next, we're going to be talking about tight ends. And Noah Fant was absolutely fantastic last night. He looked explosive. For those who don't know, he is the tight end for the Denver Broncos. And he looked amazing yesterday. 80 yards and a touchdown. You can't ask for much more from your tight end, and it looks like he's going to be involved. Yes, Cortland Sutton wasn't there, but it does seem like there's a connection between him and Drew Lock, and I definitely like that. If he's on your waiver wire, I absolutely would grab him. He's owned in a lot of leagues, but I just wanted to mention him just in case he's out there, because if he is out there, must add, for sure. Next, Dallas Goedert. He's a tight end for the Eagles. Well, I guess the second tight end. Everybody knows about Zach Ertz, but Dallas Goedert led the team in targets over the weekend. He is a very talented tight end, and they look for him all throughout the field and in the red zone. He is definitely worth an add. If you don't have a tight end that you're secured with or you lost Blake Jarwin, absolutely grab Dallas Goedert. Remember the name. He could possibly be a top 10 tight end for the rest of the year. And from what I'm hearing, there's some talks between Zach Ertz and the Eagles about his contract, and they don't seem to be going according to plan. There's a chance that at some point he gets moved. I don't foresee that coming. I'm sure that they can work something out, but you're saying there's a chance. Next, Jonnu Smith, another very athletic tight end. He is a tight end for the Tennessee Titans. Looked very good yesterday. And it looks like Ryan Tannehill is going to involve him in the offense. And I've heard some very good things out of his coaches about how they want to utilize him. So if you're tight end needy, I think Jonnu Smith can be a good substitute. Next on my list, Chris Herndon of the New York Jets. He was targeted second most on the team. That's pretty solid. He only had 37 yards, but Le'Veon Bell going down, they're definitely going to need to throw the ball more, and he's definitely going to be an option. So if you're tight end needy, he is worth a grab. Next, I can't believe I'm saying this, Jimmy Graham. Yeah, I'm recommending that you pick up Jimmy Graham. It looks like they're going to be looking at him in the red zone. He's always a big body that can catch a ball and just plop down. If you need a tight end, you can do worse than Jimmy Graham, apparently. All right, let's get to the streaming defenses and quarterbacks. All right, next we're going to be talking defenses. And at top of my list, the Rams. I think the Rams looked good defensively against the Dallas Cowboys, and now they're going to be going up against the Philadelphia Eagles that are banged up in every position possible. So I think that Aaron Donald can cause havoc on that offensive line. So, Rams, I definitely think they can get some sacks and a couple picks. Next on my list, Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against Carolina. Carolina Panthers, I don't foresee them scoring a lot of points. Yes, they have Christian McCaffrey, and Christian McCaffrey can always go in. But I like the Bucs' run defense. I think we're very solid defensively against the run, and I don't see that Teddy Bridgewater scoring more than 20 points max. So 21 points max. So I think that they're going to be a solid play. You probably get a couple sacks in there. All right, next is going to be the Tennessee Titans going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, I saw Minshew, and I think that Minshew is going to be solid. But I also think that the Titans' defense is spectacular, especially up front. I think Jadeveon Clowney is going to get to the quarterback and get a couple sacks and maybe a pick or two. Next, we have the Chiefs. Yeah, I know. The Chiefs are actually solid defensively, especially when you're going against Tyrod Taylor. I like Tyrod as a player, and I actually think that he can play fine. But that being said, they're not going to throw up a lot of points. They're going to be down in this game, which means they're going to have to be trying to push it down the field, and that's going to probably cause a couple extra turnovers. I don't foresee the Chargers scoring very much in this game, so I think the Chiefs could be a solid play this week. All right. On to the quarterback position. All right, next we're going with the quarterback position. These are players that you can grab off of waivers and start this week or maybe stash for the future. First, starting off, Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is going to play very well against the Colts. I think this could be a nice back and forth, and Kirk Cousins might actually have to throw a little bit. He's extremely accurate, always dangerous for a couple touchdowns. I think that Kirk Cousins could have a fine outing against the Colts. Ryan Tannehill going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. These are not the Jaguars of old. Their defense is not as elite as they used to be. And Ryan Tannehill is always going to get you some yards on the ground as well as getting a couple yards in the air. I don't know if Derrick Henry is just going to dominate all game. And against the Broncos, Tannehill looked pretty good. So I think that he could be a fine start this week. Jimmy GQ, Mr. Handsome himself, goes against the Jets. The Jets don't scare you in any way, shape, or form. They should have a great game against them. I think he should be just fine. You can start up Jimmy GQ if you really need somebody. These next couple of players, I'm not like saying you should start them next week, but thinking long term might help you out in the long run. Joe Burrow has shown that he likes to run a little bit, and I think that over time he's going to prove to be a pretty decent quarterback. Along those same lines, Gardner Minshew. I think the Gardner Minshew is not bad. He actually looked pretty good. He was 19 for 20, which is pretty solid. I don't like them this week against the Titans just because I'm a little worried about what Jadeveon Clowney is going to do to that offensive line, but I think moving forward, long term, he has a pretty solid schedule, so he might be a nice stash. All right, Geoffrey, anything?
Great waiver wire show, sir. You may want to get it out a little earlier next week, though.
All right, I think that's going to do it for my waiver wire episode. Let me know what you think. Who did I miss? Who's too high? Who's too low? Don't forget to like and subscribe.